Greetings from a fishing village on the Atlantic coast. You've tuned in to Podcast Portwenn, celebrating the world of Doc Martin unofficially. I'm Chesley Wexler, and we'll be discussing Doc Martin, the medicine, the mayhem, and the marvelous people of Portwenn. Judy the Newbie is kind enough to join me again for Season 9, in which Martin is supervised by the GMC per Professor Langen's Season 8 recommendations. Come through and welcome back to Podcast Portwenn.
Hi there. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I feel like I'm a drug addict. I got to get this podcast going so I can get on to the next season. I need my fix.
You just want to keep going. And then I just finished the entire series all the way through the end, even the sort of wrap-up party video that they have. Yeah, it's so bittersweet. As many times as I've watched it, I'm still really sad when it comes to the end.
Yeah. This past season, they had some extra kind of outtakes on various subjects, and one was marriage. And so I actually watched that prior to watching the season. So I knew that Al and Morwenna were going to get married and that it was going to actually take place. But I'm loving that romance.
Yeah. I know that that's one of the things that you wanted.
I did. I really did. So I'm very happy for them. And they just seem so cute together. And she seems so supportive of him and vice versa. So they're a nice couple.
Yeah. I had to keep sort of teasing the idea that maybe Morwenna would be a victim of Al's bad luck with receptionists just for fun.
Yeah, yep, you are. How many times can that whole same thing play out?
Yeah. I try to have a poker face, but also little misleading's never so bad. Now, you had said that you thought that Mrs. Tischel was going to have a love interest last time we talked.
And she did go on a date. I think he moved a little fast for her.
Yeah.
And also, he could tell that she was elsewhere.
Right.
I think, as she said, Clive had referred to her.
Mm-hmm.
I think her elsewhere is Doc Martin.
Yeah, she certainly seems enamored of him as always.
As always, right?
Yeah.
Although she did seem to take a kind of an interest in the last physician that came and that Martin was going to do the surgery with. He was going to be assisting on the surgery. When he came in and they were all sitting at the bar, she seemed to be enraptured by every word he said. So I don't know, maybe she's finally realizing she better move on.
Yeah. I liked Bernard. I liked him until he tried to manipulate and bribe Martin into overlooking his macular degeneration.
Yes. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen with that because they just left it at that. You mean you'll overlook me and I'll overlook you, and then it cut away to another scene. So I wasn't sure where they were going to go with that.
Yeah, I think we do find that when Martin resigns, he reports Bernard.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that he said that.
Yeah.
That I will say I was kind of surprised he resigned, although throughout the whole season he really felt put off by this kind of charade of jumping through hoops he had to do to prove he's a good doctor, and he felt that it was ridiculous. So maybe
he failed everything.
Oh, I mean, he is who he is. He's not going to change who he is. It's a shame because he could easily, well, not easily, but he could try to work a little harder on his bedside manner. And I will say, I think, again, this season, kind of like last season, I said that I thought I saw a little more tenderness in him with some of his patients. And, some of the patients made comments, like the old lady he gave the dog to said he's a real sweet man. And I thought he took the time to really explain things for several of the patients, maybe not all of them. He always resorts to, you could take my advice or you could die a painful death kind of
right.
thing.
Yes. And I also noticed that he thanks people more.
Yeah.
He's a bit more gracious.
Yeah. He says good job to Morwenna. So I think he is trying, or he's just softening up to the community and the people.
And he kind of knew that based on the results of those 3 things that he had to do, that he did not make his case.
What a shame.
I know, because he's a very good doctor, and you're like, you wanted to fix him the whole time.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all wanted him to succeed, and
So again, I have one more season left. Does he just go off to the green pastures, and does Louisa become the breadwinner, even though we find out that she's expecting another baby at the end, which was lovely news, and Mrs. Tishel's in the background saying,
yes, I saw that too, because first she's like, "Shh,
yeah,
shh," right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you see the conversation and she's like,
yeah. Well, she probably needs them to be quiet because she can't stop eavesdropping on what they say.
there is that.
Yeah.
That's funny. But
Um,
yeah.
so I mean, from the beginning, Martin was tested with the first, I guess, evaluator who observed him and saw his bedside manner.
Hmm.
And then when she gets electrocuted, and uh, I don't know if she kind of blamed him for that, because at the end they said something like, "And then you electrocute someone," and it wasn't his fault.
That's right. That's right. And there were some really funny lines there. I don't know if you remember, but I guess the what's her name, Rebecca Heron or something like that. So her heart stopped. And was it? I think it was Mrs. Tishel, but it might have been Joe. I think it might have been Joe. Be terrible if she died, Doc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then Martin says, I have to give her a precardial thump. And Mrs. Tishel says, that's very dangerous. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. And then let's see what else happens. Well, the selling of the pub and the purchase of the pub by Caitlin,
Hmm.
which kind of was a surprise. I guess I didn't realize. I guess Caitlin's grocery business is doing very well. I think she's trying to insert herself in the pub more so she can be near Bert.
Yes.
And I was very surprised that Al seemed to enjoy working at the grocery, but he had a great idea of doing a pop-up daily um, happy hour, I guess you could say, or
Yeah, his street food or whatever he calls it.
yeah, yeah,
Street cuisine.
yeah, with the food that they had to take off the shelves. So why not cook it?
That's right.
So that was pretty clever.
He's an innovative guy, you know?
Yeah, he is. He really is.
Did you happen to notice when Al is interviewing Caitlin for just helping out at the bar? Did you notice Bert's face?
You mentioned it, and I didn't notice his face, but he was kind of like, "No, no, don't do it." And Al's just like, "You're hired."
Yeah, I was watching his face and it's just hilarious. Like,
Yeah. Well,
like,
he is a good master at facial expressions as an actor, I think.
yes,
He really conveys a lot with his eyes and his and I think that adds to his comedic ability.
yes, I agree. Yeah, it's a lovely scene. It cracks me up every time I see it. We've
Yeah.
got James going through a very awkward stage, I guess.
James, the biting. No. No, the
He's got
biting
the
was left.
biting and he's got no friends, right?
No friends. Oh, right. And we think he makes friends with the Undertaker's son. And a lot of allergies this season. A lot of people having allergic reactions to
Yes.
things. Yeah, it was interesting that Ruth caught on that he was you taking his blocks and spelling words,
Yes.
and that he is quite bright and quiet and just like Martin.
Yeah. A lot like Martin, and Louisa's gonna have her hand full with him. You see him outside the school, and Louisa's trying to get a play date, and he's just no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. It doesn't. And there is one point where he's actually mimicking what Martin is doing. So it's like you can see he really is following his dad's pattern. And then Louisa does go off on Martin again about how the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So it's again like she doesn't want James to be like Martin.
Right. Well, and she mentions that to Ruth too, and Ruth says, "But the difference is James has two loving parents here that are with him."
Exactly.
And that is the difference. That's,
Yeah.
I think, a huge difference. We'll see how that all goes, but that's what a beautiful little boy that is that's playing James. He's a cutie.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed, indeed. We've got Martin continues to try to do some social things. So
Yep.
that's good. I think they're getting along decently.
Yep. Yep. Going to the engagement party. I guess they were making dinner plans. So yeah, that is good. He's getting out more. He's trying. He's making an effort. Even if it's for a short period of time, he's making an effort.
Hmm. Yep. And then
Which
we've got the Ruth dementia scare.
oh gosh. Yeah, I think I text you, right?
You did, yes.
I was like, please don't tell me this is what happens with Ruth. Because what did I predict? I said, oh, I think she's going to write another book and go on. And then I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's just break my heart. Yeah. Yeah. So thankfully, that's not what it was. It was just carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. I had to laugh when Al and Bert go in with their little health masks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
going to help, guys.
Well, at that point, though, they had opened all the windows.
Morwenna, I think I have found, and I don't know whether this is something that I detected my first time through, but you see Morwenna kind of have good instincts healthcare wise the whole show. And when she becomes the first aid responder, it just seems like a logical step, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, she definitely has absorbed a lot of, well, even there's a moment when Louisa too, when Pippa cuts the tip of her finger off and she wraps it, she raises it, she puts the finger on ice, and Martin says, good job. Or maybe Pippa says, how did you know what to do? And she's like, oh, I've listened to what Martin does.
Yeah.
And so I think they both have benefited from his knowledge and expertise by absorbing a lot of
medical osmosis here, right?
yeah. And again, I think Morwenna I think she just has a great demeanor for the whole thing. She doesn't lose her cool. She stays even keel, yet she's very kind and reassuring to the patients. So maybe she'll become a nurse. Maybe she'll go to med school. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, Pauline supposedly is off to nursing school.
Right. And I don't know, with the way it ended, I guess they need a doctor, right? Or is he gonna, I don't know.
It'll take a long time for her to train to be the replacement for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
I loved how, like, she jumped right on I just keep forgetting to fill out that paperwork for the first responder. And Doc has told me I can even get paid to take the classes. And
She's clever. She is a clever one.
yeah.
Didn't skip a beat. Yeah. And I think she has Doc's number. She really, really does. And I love it. I think it's great. She just knows exactly how to handle him. And I thought how sweet that when her parents couldn't come to the wedding that she asked him. And typical fashion for him, he could have easily said absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did it.
And he makes himself get there. I mean, he basically like charges in at the end.
2 wheels.
Well, I love when he has to delay her so that Al can propose.
Yeah, have the proposal.
And just what is it? It's like Morwenna, wait a minute. And then this incredibly long delay. All right, you can go.
You can just watch.
Yeah. It's going to be exactly an hour. Yeah. It's just so in character, you know. I
exactly.
am a precise person.
Precise. Absolutely precise. One thing I still have a question on this is the Undertaker gal. I can't think of her name, but she approaches Louisa at one point and says, oh, and I have to tell you something, that my dog had puppies. So half of them are yours. Buddy is the father. And then she comes with a basket of puppies to give to Martin. Now, I thought one of the criteria for keeping that dog was he had to be deloused, dewormed, and castrated.
I think you're right. Hey, see that? You need to be on the continuity team. That
So
is very good.
It's just, are they stuck with these puppies, or is there a different father in the mix?
That's right. Hey, maybe it's not Buddy.
Yeah. Did Angela Sims screw up? Was she supposed to fix?
Buddy ends up getting surgery, right?
Oh, yeah. And that was pretty amazing that Doc was able to bail Angela out, basically, because she couldn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor little Buddy.
When Buddy had his little cone of shame on in the bed, he was like, well done.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
Again, he is softening up. He definitely is. And again, it was lovely seeing I was actually surprised that Janice came back.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting her. And because I kind of thought maybe she and Joe would, even though there was a little tension there, I kind of thought maybe she and Joe would reunite, but I don't think that's in the cards.
Yeah, I mean, Joe was so inept. Even
he, towards the end, I felt like some of his goofiness was being toned down. Like he really pulled off officiating the wedding ceremony.
True. Yep.
he kind of made friends with that surfer guy, and they seemed to bond. And I thought he was, even though he said some stupid things, he knew when there was an issue with his wife, and kind of was like, well, wait a minute, we better do something here. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. There were moments when his goofiness was in check, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That the surfer guy, I don't know if you're a Ted Lasso watcher, but
I am. I
yeah,
noticed exactly who that was a minute.
yeah, yeah. Are you a Game of Thrones watcher?
I am not.
Okay. 'Cause how about Magpie Murders and those things on PBS? Okay. 'Cause Conleth Hill is the doctor who gives Martin the fake patients.
Yes.
And he's been in a number of different things with Martin Clunes. He also is Varys on Game of Thrones, who's a very big uh, uh, character. I think he might have even won an Emmy for that role.
Okay. So I looked on the map and did a Google map from where my husband's company's office is in Paynton
Hmm.
to Port Isaac, and it's about an hour and 45-minute drive.
Okay.
But I'm hopeful that I'll get to go there at some point, and I'll make a trip of it
I
for sure.
think you should. You should. It is. I'm actually arranging right now. This is a little teaser for any watchers here. I'm negotiating with some guests at this point about doing an episode on people who traveled to Port Isaac during filming and what that experience was like. So that's coming in our future for the podcast Portwenn.
Oh, that'll be great.
I
That'll
think
be
it would
great.
be. I'm glad you think that's a good idea. I thought it would be a lot of fun. I mean, when we were there, the series was wrapped, so it was still fun because you are walking around in what seems like the set of a TV show that you're extremely familiar with. But to
Yeah.
actually be there when they're filming and they've met some people from the show, cast and crew, and it just seems like that would be a fun experience to share with the podcast audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I thought this was a great season. I'm blowing through these episodes again. I was so happy to see Al and Morwenna, and see that Al is seems to be doing well, and it sounds like Ruth might be entertaining a business opportunity with Al again with the street food thing.
Yep, you never know.
You never know.
There's a huge thing that happened in this series that made me extraordinarily happy that you haven't mentioned yet.
A big thing that happened. Wait, let me think. Why? What am I missing? What am I missing?
Sort of like it was one episode with a returning character.
Mark.
Yes, yes.
Mark. Yes.
Mark
Mark.
was back. This was huge
Mark. Yeah. Mark.
because I get to know all the actors' names and everything. I don't even, not even sure if he was in the credits at the beginning. So I don't think anything was given away. I don't remember seeing his name, but all of a sudden he shows up at the surgery. I was like, Mark.
Yeah. Now it's funny. He seemed a little cockier than the old Mark. I guess he considers himself a big time. Well, didn't he go to Poland?
Yeah, I mean the what we know is that he actually went on his honeymoon without Julie,
Okay.
and then supposedly he went to Poland to become a plumber. That's what we heard in season 2, episode 9, I think. But then we don't really get an explanation of how he ended up coming back and going to Exeter and becoming a
Right.
sergeant there. So he must have, come back, rejoined the force, or maybe he never left the force. But it seemed like he keeps teasing that Poland was a long story and no one ever asks him to explain it.
Right. Yeah.
So he must have been there for a bit and then
If remember when they approached Penhale about going to Exeter,
Mhm.
and well, we've got other guys to consider because
True.
they wanted his answer.
Yep. Yep. But I recall that not being a promotion, that was a transfer.
Okay.
And Mark comes back as a sergeant. Now, that's not to say he couldn't have gone there as a transfer and then gotten promoted there.
Right. Right.
But you're right. He comes back and he's definitely more like in charge and
Oh yeah. Big,
yeah.
big. He's the big cheese.
But he's still the same naive, sensitive
Yeah.
guy.
When he's worried about his health scare, and thinks he's dying, and he tells Martin, I've loved Louisa for my whole life.
Yep. And then at the end when he realizes he's not joking, haha, I should have seen your face though.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about Mark coming back and yeah, Penhale didn't take too kindly to being told what to do but at the end,
Yeah, he admired Mark in the end when Mark actually does save George, I
mm,
guess, from getting
on
hit
a
by the
track.
tractor. Yep. How about Bethany? Bethany, who is Louisa's patient, who starts
Yes,
dressing like her.
dressing like her. Yes, that was kind of freaky.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll tell you, I thought that scene with her and Martin and Mrs. Tischel was hilarious because she pulls the knife out. Martin's on the floor unconscious. Mrs. Tischel assumes he's been killed, wrestles the knife away. Then Louisa comes in and Mrs. Tischel's holding the knife.
Yes, that was hysterical. I was like, oh my God, talk about whatever could look like the worst possible scenario did.
Yep. Yep. And that's quite a foreshadowing of Martin just crashing and burning in the surgery with Bernard, because that's his second time now passing out, right?
I think from what I can recall, it's just twice that he's passed out.
Yeah, because the first time was Alice Taylor. How could I forget? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, not looking good.
No, no, I'm so anxious to find out if they accept his resignation, don't accept his resignation, what he does for a living if they do.
Yep.
Mum's
And
the word from you, huh?
of course, I try very hard not to give anything away because, the people watching this also, they're up through potentially season 9 and they haven't seen anything further either. So,
Right,
don't want to give anything away to anyone.
right,
But
right.
I like when the surfer folks, Mags and Nathan, they're having their baby and it's like, is it a boy? Is it a girl? It's a head.
It's ahead. Yeah,
I think at one point Mrs. Tischel says something like, Dr. Ellingham is more than enough.
she's too much.
And I've got chives.
She's too much. Yeah, the surfer dude, I hope he becomes a little bit more of an attentive parent than he was of a
Yes.
husband and partner of a pregnant lady.
I was wondering if that was sort of an intentional juxtaposition of Martin being over the top, extremely involved in Louisa's new pregnancy. Like he's taking her temperature and stuff.
He's keeping the logbook. Yeah,
Yeah, like he's doing all these things. So he's super involved. And then
yeah,
Nathan is like, yeah, you can be up on the ladder fixing the whatever.
yeah, yeah. Well, Martin did say that he definitely wanted to be involved because he missed most of her initial pregnancy.
Yeah. Pretty much all of it, because the first 6 months she's gone, and then the last 3 months she's like, stay the hell away from me.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So he gave 100%
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so boy or girl?
for their next baby. Ooh, I'm going to say girl.
Okay. Give me boy name and give me girl name.
Sarah for a girl.
Okay.
I don't think it would be Joan. I thought about Aunt Joan, but Joan could be, but I don't know. I think Sarah. And for a boy, maybe they do Martin.
Could be. But maybe they'll take bets like they did with James's birth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we always like to do our names. Do you remember any of the funny names in this one?
I did not write them down and I don't remember. I don't.
There's Honor Todd, which you'd have to be in England to know that one. I had to kind of look that up.
I
But
did. Yeah.
On Your Todd is on your own. So
Oh,
Honor
okay.
Todd is like some woman is alone. If you remember Miles, who was Bert's cousin with the goat ice cream,
Yes.
and his girlfriend her last name was Knott, and her first name was Shirley, so she was Shirley Knott.
Surely not.
There was a Scott Chegg, so Scotch Egg.
Okay.
Daryl Hannah, and Scott Chegg was another one of these, Mr. Chegg's, okay, Scott things, and Daryl Hannah.
And I caught that when they said, okay, Scott. And I was like, wait a minute, I got to rewind it. And I didn't, I was like, Scott Chegg. Scott, I didn't put the two. I did hear Daryl Hannah.
Yes. And Iona Castle?
The castle.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. I don't know
Mhm.
how they keep it together.
I know. Probably multiple takes. So,
Yeah.
okay, so let's do our predictions. You said you think they're going to have a girl, maybe named Sarah. What else do you think is coming up?
Boy, well, this is a hard one because I don't know if now Louisa is going to become the breadwinner and Martin will be the stay-at-home dad, or what will happen there? That's a tough one. I know they mentioned that the school would love to have Louisa back, but I don't know how they could survive on just teacher's pay, and I'll have to find another place to live because I guess if he's giving up the practice, they won't have the surgery to live in, and she won't have an office to do counseling in. So,
I think they could remain in the house because the way I think the physician stuff works in England is he bought that house, so it doesn't belong to, like, it's not like they're like the manse for the minister that they're providing it as part of his pay. He owns that home
well,
and
okay,
he works out of his home basically. So,
I
yeah.
see. Okay. All right. Well, that's one less worry, but
Although not for nothing, with another kid, they could use a bigger home.
well, yeah, for sure. Gosh, what else do I
Although,
predict?
if they renovate it and he's not the doctor, they've probably got plenty of room.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Morwenna gets pregnant and they have babies at the same time. Bert and Caitlin are going to end up together.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Joe eventually taking, and maybe he'll be there the whole season, but eventually taking a job elsewhere because he hasn't found, he hasn't been lucky in love. So maybe a new change of scenery might be what he needs.
And he gets so excited whenever anything potentially crimey happens,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
nothing ever happens, so he's really not challenged.
He's, well, this is kind of morbid, but maybe Aunt Ruth passes away and leaves all her money to Martin and Louisa, and that's how they manage.
Would lighten up some financial burden, but, you know,
I mean, gosh, certainly hope not, because she's a great character.
yeah.
Let's see, Mrs. Tishel. How about her? It was funny. I thought maybe she would have her niece or her cousin be, the next person to take over the chemist shop, but oh, you'll never work here again.
That's right, yes. And apparently the actress who played her cousin or whatever is a relative of Mrs. Tishel's, of Selena Cadell. It might be her daughter. I can't quite remember who it is. I'll have to check and see. I'll post a little text thingy answer once I figure out
Okay.
who it is, but I know she's related.
Yeah. At some point, I feel like Mrs. Tishel might be ready to retire. I'm trying to think of where she might go, or if she's just going to stay there forever.
Yeah. No obvious successor if she rules out whatever her name is.
Yeah. I'd like to see her though find a mate, or gets her off of Martin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, she kind of seemed like open to the idea of dating that guy Donald. She seemed open to the idea of Bernard Newton being enamored of a different doctor. So it seems like her vista is a little expanded.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Good. Well, I wish you all the best on your last season of Doc Martin.
I know it makes me sad.
Yeah, yeah. It really is sad because
Great show.
it's a great show and you just want more and more stories.
You do, and I've loved watching the outtakes too, and kind of get a feel for the actors and actresses who I had no idea that Al had 3 children, I think? Yeah,
I think
I guess his name is Joe in real life, and that he lives there in Port
mhm,
Isaac and is a surfer, and
yeah.
no idea. Um,
It's
it
fun
was
seeing that background stuff.
yeah, it is. It really is,
Do
and
not watch the background stuff of season 10 before you watch 10.
I don't think there is any.
Okay. I know on Acorn, not on Acorn, on my DVDs, there is a episodes 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8, and then Last Christmas in Portwenn, and then there's a sort of farewell to Doc Martin.
I can see that on my Acorn streaming. And it was weird how they had there was 4 kind of conversations with the
Mhm.
cast, little videos, and they weren't after, they were before season 9. They
Really?
act Yeah, on Acorn, they came after 8, they came right next instead of the series, episodes.
Wow, that's kind of
So
rude because
yeah,
it does give you spoilers.
that was rude, yeah, some I stopped watching and then went back to them because I was like, "Wait a minute, I gotta find this out." But by watching the show, but, yeah, so that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, enjoy it.
I will. I'll miss it. I'm excited to find out how the fairy tale ends. I I'm gonna have to find something else to watch or rewatch everything.
Well, that's great. Listen, I wish you all the best for season 10. I hope you thoroughly enjoy it, even though it's the denouement of this great show.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. I look forward to your texts, and when you're ready to talk about it, you know where to find me.
Okay. Sounds good. It's a bittersweet couple of weeks for me to know that this is wrapping up.
Yeah, yeah. But it won't take you that long.
No, I know it won't. Like I said, I'm addicted.
Yes, yes. Thanks again, Judy. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Podcast Portwenn. Podcast Portwenn is an independent fan production, not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by Buffalo Pictures, ITV, Fox, or the creators of Doc Martin or Best Medicine.